All right, hope everyone's doing well. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going into what trades I'm taking and the swing trades, the scalp trades, all that jazz, and also just what I'm expecting going forward because price has been a bit volatile. Anyway, right now this morning I did take a little scalp trade at about 66 100. I am biased long, so it was essentially in the backdrop of the breakout of this level. So we had a nice momentum switch, and I saw that on the metrics, and I was checking liquidity, so I took that trade, and it's like it's not big. It's not like a massive trade or anything. $290 in profit. But yeah, that's a scalp trade I took this morning, and then we're gonna get into what trades I'm doing next, really. So in the last video, I was talking about the asymmetric bet, which is going to be definitely to the upside. Okay, so if you look at all the data, it suggests that there's a high conglomeration of liquidity to the upside. When I mean liquidity, I mean liquidation levels, and that acts as a magnet for price. So that exists there. So we have to keep in mind that, where we are with price right now, we have a very large amount of liquidity residing up here, opposed to a little bit of amount down here. So there's much more to the upside than the downside. That's why my tilt is going to be favoring the upside way more than anything else. So you can see that straight over here. Okay. And also, just to give you the backdrop of that trade I took this morning, that was also in the backdrop of coming into a green level of volume, which I took because there was also a bit of a volume consolidation block there, which I saw that if you also pop on the momentum metrics, let me just do that here. And I think it was the hourly. Yeah, the hourly was flicking, and then you have a few different flicks around a different metrics. So it was a solid sort of trade. And that's why I took most of my profit, because it's going to be volatile. That was a derivative trade. So I'm obviously looking to, my main position is spots. That's what I'm mainly doing. But yeah, we have this right here. Leave the rest, get stopped out if it fails. Could have taken profit higher, but oh well. Anyway, over to what's happening next. Just to keep it obvious, we know that higher is the expectation for the longer term. That being said, we might scoop around for a bit and then go. And in terms of how high, I don't know. It's just the fact that we have all this liquidity to the upside, which is usually a very big weight for, not big weight, a big magnet for price. So as I usually do, let's mark out the levels that I'm looking at to take trades. We're going to start out marking out the swing trades, because that's going to be the most important. So just to preface, firstly, I would say anything within this zone right here is good for a nice swing trade. And I'm giving a very big lenience of about 18% from 56 to 66, because that's the zone of price making a big change, because obviously we can't pinpoint it. You can, in the sense that when you reach, like I did said in the videos, I bought the low on spot because it hit a very key point. So you can pinpoint that, but like in terms of, usually when we have bad massive crashes, it's not just V-shaped recovery. It's usually going to be boom, 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 then go up. So, boom, 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 then go up. That's usually what takes place. But within that, there's also stacks of trades to take within that price action. So that's why for me, I have like a spot portfolio, then I have like a derivative side of things, which I'm actually going to be moving over to different exchanges. I'm probably going to use weeks. In fact, if you guys want to help me on the channel make better content, go over to this right here, the trade with me, hop on Bybit and Weeks. The links in the description below. So you can go straight over here. We got Weeks, Bybit, and then Ubit. And then, you can also subscribe to the Telegram channel, and then Instagram for questions or anything like that. Or if you're in Australia, that'd be kind of cool, because I can meet up with an Australian trader. Anyway, that's what I'm looking at in terms of the massive swing opportunity buy. Now let's refine that and what that would look like on a more zoomed in level. All right, so what we can immediately off the backdrop say is we've got a bunch of liquidity forming into the upside here, okay? And in terms of volume, what do we have for the volume side of things? We are trading, taking this low out, but back in the value area low of this region. I wouldn't put much weight onto this, because this is it's not a very structured channel. You can see that the channel's gone massively down, up, and then like that. It hasn't been a channel like this. So the volume has been wonky, because you have a lot of different things happening at the same time here. So it's not very consolidative in price action in a sense. Now, in terms of what are we looking at, this is actually quite a good low for a scalp trade. That's why I took the scalp. But if I'm looking for a better trade, I'm really thinking something around the lines of, if I chuck on this, the default, this one over here looks very nice to me to ladder in more spot positions because this looks like a very solid level. And also here briefly for another scalp trade, which would be the swing failure pattern of this low going into the 618, which is a golden Fibonacci zone. So that's going to be around here, 64. And then here it is 62,800. But I would be favoring that. So that would be my level to enter. And then my last entry where I'd go very, very heavy would be around $58,000 and then extending to 56. And then I'd be holding that, okay? Unless you believe Bitcoin's just going to tank to zero, then me personally, I don't have a reason to believe we're just going to be doing that. So I believe those are levels I'm looking at. Now to the upside, to give a clear view, obviously we start off with volume. Volume zone pointing straight away to me is $70,000. That's a very good one up there too. So immediately off the backdrop, you can see that there's a bit of confluence there. And then if we chuck on a bit of volume anchored VWAP, we can sort of estimate where this is going to peter out. And it's going to peter out somewhere along the lines of here, I would say, depending on how long price extends. And that will coincide very nicely with this zone. So you'd be looking at a level which is here. That being said, I wouldn't short. I'll be looking for it as a take profit zone because we know that the market's tilted asymmetrically to the upside. So, that's the asymmetric bet. So yeah, that's what I'll be looking at for that. So just a highlight. Looking at this like that. And then on the downside, you're looking at here and here. This is for buying opportunities, so we'll change the color. And then there we go. Cool. That's what I'm looking at. So I think that's a good preparation stage. And then when we get there, we take a trade based off that. So today's trade was a micro trade. Because if you go down to the 30 or the 15 minute here, there's a little bit of a fair value gap here. I'm not a big fair value gap dude anyway, but there was a level there. You also had a volume level that was in here. Slight volume, it's nothing crazy. But the key thing was the fair value gap and then also the low here. And once you get the reclaim, let's have a look at how that's panned out. So I entered here, right? So essentially I'm just entering on the backdrop of your break. So you consolidate and then you break out. This is called a SysD, this breakout here. It's basically a market structure change. These are just scalp trades. So I'm not putting the whole farm on this, but it's a scalp trade. And then my entry was in here. So you're basically just betting on it's going to bounce back up from there. So then you look at your momentum metrics. So you've bottomed here, right? So you essentially have like a cup handle. And then here, you're looking for the miniature version, which is going to be over here. Then you take a trade. In total, it comes out to be like a 1% trade. I got less than that. I probably got 0.8-ish around that, which is fine. But I don't like how Bybit, the fees for scalping, they're okay. But like there's other exchanges I can use that are better. Like Weeks is really good. And yeah, a bit Unix is very good too. So that's what I'm currently going to shift over to for scalping. But yeah, that's that. Anyway, hope that's very clear. And then obviously, I'm not really interested in taking any short trades, as I said. So that's what I'm looking at. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I might get into live streaming soon, but we'll see what happens. Let me guys know if you want that. Yeah, sign up to the links below. We got Weeks merch here, fellas. So yeah, hop on those exchanges. Don't blow yourself up. Take a look at the analysis I'm putting out. And obviously trade with caution. It's your money at the end of the day. But yeah, you can take inspiration from the stuff I'm doing and how I'm approaching the market. All right. Without further ado, I'll catch you guys in the next update. For now, have a great day. And yeah, I'll see you in the market. Goodbye.